Welcome to the Love, Laugh, Live Chat Show. Pyar karo, hasso, ta chuk chuk jiyo wala show.
So our show is all about creating and guiding you on how to manifest a more fulfilling life that you deserve and desire, and how to raise your consciousness through loving, laughing and living. And my name is Devinder Obi. I'm a life and spiritual coach, and sitting next to me, looking very, very beautiful. Introduce yourself, please.
My name is Gurdial Garcha, and I'm an empowerment and resilience coach. And Dav, so what are we going to be discussing today?
We'll be discussing today two things actually. First, we're going to talk about this movie. A movie I think has been on Netflix but the last month, minna ho gaya, I think. And it's a Jabardast movie. It's so empowering and it's so inspiring, and any lessons that we're going to share, because we understand those lessons and we love to share those lessons with you, because I'm sure to see if you can resonate to a lot of this. And movie da naam hega Shrikant Bola, but actually the movie is called Shrikant, but the person's name, Sara name of hega Shrikant Bola, and all this story about he's born obviously visually impaired, or a disability, see he born without eyes, and all the journey of the story, he now is a multi-millionaire without eyesight. So ode bare assi palan gal karni, and then afterwards we're going to talk about this study we came across that ajkal they say 80% of people sit in front of the TV ajkal roti khan hun ajkal dani table te nahi khande, hun TV de samne khande. And we're going to talk about why ऐदा क्यों हो गया, change कितो आ गया, and the benefits किया, and obviously the disadvantage किया. So that'd be a fun one to talk about. We've got lots of fun stories in there, our experiences.
So जिदा Dav ने किया सी दो सारे theme हैगे आज. पहले तो हैगे Shrikant. I think, did you watch it first or did I watch it first?
I think we watched it around about the same time.
ਅਸੀਂ ਦੋਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਉਹ film ਦੇਖੀ ਸੀ Shrikant. It's a fantastic movie. ਜਿਦਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਵੀ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਬੰਦਾ ਸੀ ਉਹ ਜਦੋਂ when he was born blind, ਤਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਮੰਮੀ ਡੈਡੀ ਸੀਗੇ, especially his dad, not his mom, ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਉਹਦੀ ਫੈਮਿਲੀ ਸੀ, ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਵਾਲੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਇਹ ਤਾਂ ਮੰਗਣ ਵਾਲਾ ਜੋਗਾ ਰਹਿ ਜਾਣਾ, ਵੀ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਖਤਮ ਕਰ ਦਿਓ, ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਵੀ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਦੱਬ ਦਵੋ. I don't know whether they
wanted to bury him alive,
ਵੀ ਜੀਂਦੇ ਨੂੰ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਮਿੱਟੀ ਚ ਪਾ ਕੇ ਦੱਬ ਦਿਓ.
ਉਦੋਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਨਾ, ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲੀ ਕੁੜੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ.
ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲੀ horrible. ਦੇਖਣ ਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਤਰਸ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਸੀ ਇਸ ਮੁੰਡੇ ਤੇ, ਤਾਂ ਪਰ ਉਹਦੀ ਮੰਮੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੀ ਸੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਦਾ ਮਰਜ਼ੀ ਹੋਵੇ ਵੀ ਮੈਂ ਇਹਦੀ ਲੁੱਕ ਆਫਟਰ ਕਰੂੰਗੀ, ਵੀ ਮੈਂ ਮਿਹਨਤਾਂ ਕਰਦੇ, ਆਪਣੇ ਹਸਬੈਂਡ ਨੂੰ ਮਿਹਨਤਾਂ ਕਰਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਵੀ ਮੈਂ ਇਹਦੀ ਲੁੱਕ ਆਫਟਰ
ਕਰੂੰਗੀ, ਮੈਂ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਹੋ ਬੱਚਾ दूंगी, but actually karan laga siga on the, you know, actually zameen on he made obviously ready to bury him, but was about to put him in there. Ma sahi time aa gayi sigi and bechare bacche nu so that was really intense, that scene. And for pio ikdam oda daddy siga, you know, but oh tarfde hai na, he was like ਮੈਂ ਕੀ ਕਰਨ ਲੱਗਾ ਸੀ, ਐਡੀ ਵੱਡੇ ਪਾਪ ਕਰਨ ਲੱਗਾ ਸੀਗਾ. ਪਰ ਓਬਵੀਅਸਲੀ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੇ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਆ ਕੇ ਥਿੰਕਿੰਗ ਦਾ ਉਹ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਫਾਇਦੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ, ਬਿਕਾਜ਼ ਬੱਚੇ ਦੀ ਲਾਈਫ ਕੀ ਰਹਿਣੀ ਆ, ਜੇ ਮਾਂ ਪਿਓ ਨੂੰ ਕੁਝ ਹੋ ਜਾਣਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਫਿਰ ਬੱਚੇ ਨੇ ਕਿਹੜੀ ਯੂ نو ਦੇਖਭਾਲ ਕਰਨੀ ਸੀਗੀ. ਸੋ ਹੀ ਥੋਟ ਹੀ ਵਾਸ ਡੂਇੰਗ ਇਟ ਫॉर ਦ ਚਾਈਲਡਸ ਬੈਨੀਫਿਟ.
ਤਾਂ ਉਹ ਦੇਖਣ ਨੂੰ ਆਈ ਮੀਨ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਪਤਾ ਵੀ ਹੁਣ ਵੀ ਇਦਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਆ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਵੀ ਵਰਲਡ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਪਰ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸੀਨ ਆ ਇਜ਼ ਵੈਰੀ ਵੈਰੀ ਡਿਫਿਕਲਟ ਟੂ ਵਾਚ. ਪਰ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਹੌਲੀ ਹੌਲੀ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਕਰਕੇ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮਾਪੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ ਸਾਡੇ, ਕਈ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਵਿਸ਼ਵਾਸ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ ਵੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਮੁੰਡਾ ਹੋਊਗਾ, ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਵੀ ਉਹ ਕ੍ਰਿਕਟ ਖੇਲੂਗਾ, ਆਹ ਕਰੂਗਾ, ਨਾਮ ਰੋਸ਼ਨ ਕਰੂਗਾ, ਇੰਨਾ ਕੁਛ ਹੁੰਦਾ. ਪਰ ਫਿਰ ਜਦੋਂ ਉਹ ਬੋਰਨ ਹੋਇਆ ਸੀ ਇੱਕਦਮ ਉਹ ਸੈਲੀਬ੍ਰੇਟ ਕਰਨ ਲੱਗ ਪਿਆ ਸੀਗਾ, ਪਰ ਉਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀਗਾ ਵੀ ਉਹ ਅੰਨਾ ਸੀਗਾ, ਵੀ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕੁਛ ਦੱਸਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀਗਾ. ਫਿਰ ਇੱਕਦਮ ਉਹ ਸਟੋਰੀ ਲਾਈਨ ਸਾਰੀ ਚੇਂਜ ਹੋ ਗਈ, ਐਂਡ ਉੱਥੋਂ ਫਿਰ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਐਕਸੈਪਟ ਕਰਨਾ ਪਿਆ ਵੀ ਮੇਰਾ ਮੁੰਡਾ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਹੈ. ਪਰ ਹੌਲੀ ਹੌਲੀ ਥਰੂ ਟਾਈਮ ਫਿਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਵੀ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕਿੰਨੀਆਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦੀਆਂ ਔਖੇ ਟਾਈਮ ਆਏ ਸੀ ਉਹਲੇ, ਪਰ ਫਿਰ ਵੀ ਹੀ ਮੈਨੇਜ ਟੂ ਓਵਰਕਮ every single thing that was that came towards him right from the beginning.
It's a safe story, This is just recently. I think he just got married 2022, and that's amazing story.
And he's born in 1991, 7th of July 1991. So I think he's around the same age as our children, really. So and now he's a multi-millionaire. you know, the film's actually played by Rajkumar Rao, and he does a great job of playing the role of a blind, visually impaired person. All the acting board, Jadi Badiyaya. But it's about Sirikant Bola, a visually impaired gentleman who was rejected by IIT. ਜਦੋਂ ਉਹ ਸਟੱਡੀ ਕਰਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਉਹਨੇ ਸਾਇੰਸ ਕਰਨੀ ਸੀਗੀ ਤਾਂ ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਤੂੰ ਕਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਕਦਾ ਕਿ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਟੈਸਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ ਸੋ ਹੌਲੀ ਹੌਲੀ ਕੋਰਟ ਰਾਹੀਂ you know he went through court ਪਰ ਉਹਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਟੀਚਰ ਸੀਗੀ I think she was the one that actually
she was the pillar
was the pillar ਉਹਨੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਹਲੇ ਤਾਈਂ ਵੀ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਸਾਥ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਵੀ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਮਰਜ਼ੀ ਆ ਵੀ ਮੈਂ ਤੇਰੀ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਕਰੂੰਗੀ ਮੈਂ ਤੇਰੀ ਹੈਲਪ ਕਰੂੰਗੀ so she supported him throughout his journey of becoming this multi-millionaire entrepreneur. So Hon Esville, he's the CEO of a 50 crore company. So he's the founder of Bollant Industries, and the turnover is $50 million per year. And naale wo employ karda 500 bande. Ta
I know it's 500 crore.
Yeah, 50 million, but it says 50 crore. I think there's just a difference in the way they write it. But also, ਉਹ ਹਨਾ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲੋਕ ਮੰਗਤੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਮੰਗਦੇ ਜਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੁਝ ਦੱਸਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਹੈਲਪ ਕਰਦਾ ਵੀ ਹਾਂ ਵੀ ਉਹ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਵੀ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਨਾ ਕਿਸੇ ਤੋਂ ਹੱਥ ਮੂਹਰੇ ਕਰਨਾ ਪਵੇ ਪੈਸੇ ਲਈ so he even employs people that are you know not able to ਕਿਸੇ ਹੋਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ job ਨਹੀਂ ਦੇਣੀ but he actually actively gives so that's such a massively important thing. I think it's so good to do that for your community.
Yeah, I think what happened chota hunda si na obviously bahut hushar siga and ਇਹਦਾ ਦਿਮਾਗ ਸੀਗਾ very focused into science and he could calculate things just like that very difficult calculations ਇਹ ਦਿਮਾਗ ਚ ਆਪੇ ਕਰ ਲੈਂਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ so it's incredible that gift because look you're born blind you don't know what the colors are what anything is but he somehow just had that innate ability and then obviously he wanted to engage with duje bachchiyan de naal so he wanted to play cricket and things and obviously bullies typical things that society the world is you got bullied and ek munda siga he goes to him to you know tu kuch nahi kar sakta you cricket the ball you can't hit the ball kuch you know to teri life adhe reh jaye tu paise mangta anga reh jaye na so he puts like this rupee in his hand and he goes that's all he goes that's all you're good enough for otte that onane andro taste for you know so he was really hurt and then he goes never in my life kuch ho jaye I'm never going to become a beggar so beggars don't have to exist you know you don't have to go down that path so he goes kuch ho jaye I'm not going to live a life where I need to mangni paugi so that's became his mission so the rest wherever he saw beggars in his obviously in his path in his journey he gave them jobs you know he created an industry a business where these don't have to beg so his priority was to give them jobs first so
yeah and I think and like we said hum assi discuss karde hunde ya you know program kan to pehla that person who bullied him ਜਿਹਨੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕੁੱਟਿਆ ਮਾਰਿਆ ਤਾਂ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਸੀ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ you know ਬਸ ਜਾਂ ਮੋਮਬੱਤੀਆਂ ਬਣਾ ਸਕਦਾ ਆ ਜਾਂ ਭੀਖ ਮੰਗ ਸਕਦਾ ਆ ਉਹਨੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਸ਼ਕਤੀ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਸੀਗੀ ਤਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲੋਕ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਔਖੇ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਚੰਗਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਮਝਦੇ ਪਰ ਉਹਦੀ ਲਾਈਫ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜੇ ਉਹ ਨਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਉਹ ਆ ਰਾਹ ਨਾ ਫੜਦਾ but because he treated him ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਵੀ ਬਸ ਤੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਇੰਨੇ ਜੋਗਾ ਰਹਿ ਜਾਣਾ ਆ he gave him that fire that you know
burning
desire भी हाँ भी मैं ये काम नहीं करना मैं अपना राह मैं देखना है
मैं कदे पीक नहीं मांगनी that's he made up his mind never मैं कुछ भी हो जाए मैं पढ़ूंगा मैं कुछ भी करूँगा मैं सबसे बड़े यूनिवर्सिटी जाऊँगा हो मुल्क च जाऊँगा and he did it just because of that incident so when we say like the people who give us the most you know trauma the most difficult time they actually are holy acquaintance is sab to sade vade teachers hunde ne because if they didn't come and behave that way with us it wouldn't have given us that driving force that burning desire that main karke chadna I'm going to make sure I do this now because of how they treated them so they're like they create this they ignite something in you and if they didn't come or ignition honi nahi sige so that's why we say the lesson in this for all of us that where we felt that with this injustice hoya sade na kisi ne bura kita or time bura kita because it's something in us thinking it changes something in us if we allow it. We take
Yeah.
that very, we discipline ourselves and put a lot of faith and commitment that I am going to go on that path, that I'm not going to allow this happen to me again. So I have to make that change in me. I've got to have that force, that determination that मैं करके दिखाना, मैं दिखा के छड़ना.
Yeah, definitely. ਪਰ ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਸ ਰਾਹ ਥਾਣੀ ਲੰਘਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਾਡਾ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਔਖਾ ਟਾਈਮ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਆ, ਉਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਵੀ ਆਹ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇੰਨੀ ਸਾਰੀ ਔਖਾ ਟਾਈਮ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਥਰੂ ਜਾਣਾ ਪਿਆ ਵੀ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਮੈਂ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਦੀ ਬਾਅਦ 'ਚ ਹੋ ਜਾਣਾ. But that gives us the strength and the resilience that we needed. ਪਰ ਉਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਤਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਗਾਲਾਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋਵਾਂਗੇ, ਕਹਿਣਾ ਮੈਂ ਨਾ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਕੀਤੀ, ਮੈਂ ਨਾ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਕੀਤੀ. But afterwards we realised ਜੇ ਉਹ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਦਾ ਨਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ, then we wouldn't find the strength within ourselves to be able to overcome other problems which down the line might be even bigger than that. So this is what he showed. I mean, Sirikant ne dikha liya. I mean, you got to remember he's only 30, sort of that kind of age. So he's very, very young man. But ਉਹਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਉਹਦਾ ਤਾਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀਗਾ, but his vision, ਜਿਹੜੀ ਉਹਦੀ ਸੋਚ ਸੀਗੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਡੂੰਘੀ ਸੀਗੀ, but without vision. And another thing I've just thought about, ਵੀ ਕਰਕੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ, ਉਹਦਾ ਦਿਮਾਗ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਸ਼ਾਰਪ ਸੀਗਾ. So what they say is that when you, not only the distraction, but when you don't have one of your 5 senses, the other senses are much sharper, heightened. So ਉਹਦਾ ਦਿਮਾਗ ਆਮ ਨਿਆਣਿਆਂ ਤੋਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਉਹ ਚੁਸਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ, because he didn't have the sight. ਉਹਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀਗਾ ਵੀ ਲੋਕ ਮੇਰੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਕੀ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਆ, ਕੀ ਸਮਝਦੇ ਆ, ਵੀ ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ. But he just went along his way. And he showed not only himself but all the people around him that ਦੇਖਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈਗਾ. ਗੱਲ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਦਿਮਾਗ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆ, ਉਹੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਫੋਰਸ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੁਛ ਨਾ ਕੁਛ ਬਣ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ. It's not usually just with sight. That he had that vision, and ਉਹਨੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਤਰੱਕੀ ਕੀਤੀ. And also part of the film, I mean, I know we discussed this, ਕਿ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਉਹਨੇ ਮੀਟਿੰਗ ਕਰਨੀ ਸੀਗੀ, ਵੀ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਉਹਨੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਦਿਖਾਉਣਾ ਸੀ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਉਹਦੀ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸ ਆਈਡੀਆ ਸੀਗਾ, ਤਾਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਲੋਕ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਜੇ ਦੱਸਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ, they would have listened, ਪਰ ਉਹ ਉੱਠ ਕੇ ਚਲ ਗਿਆ. So he couldn't even see that. I'm sure he felt it. And I think that was the saddest part about
but he wasn't aware
human,
of it.
that's what I mean.
All he had is inner vision.
But that's his human nature. It was, for me, that was the saddest part of the film, where people just really just ignored him, and not. And they didn't even believe in his idea, but he still carried on. He never gave up.
And also, when we start our show, we always talk about we're here as coaches to help and guide ourselves and other people and how to manifest a more fulfilling life that you deserve and desire. And we talk about manifestation a lot, that we are the creators of our reality. But we always talk about a lot that it all starts from imagination, inner vision. And they just see these sorts, and that's what we end up manifesting and attracting and creating in the outer world. So he did not have, the sight, the eyesight, because usually we think, okay, we've got the sight, the 5 senses, we always go the hearing, smell, taste, touch. Those are really, those are human experience, but they're just meant for really on how to live, to survive as a human species on this earth plane. But as a creator, as a powerful creator, that who we are to our essence, we just need our imagination. Those other sensories are just a way of survival mechanism. But our inner vision is where we create and manifest a fulfilling life. And he just had that inner vision. And the inner vision, he did not have any resistance, because if he had the normal sight, what we all have, then we can see competition, we can see where we're going to comparison, we can see fear, doubts, judgment, and those are things that block our manifestation. Those things that we get sight of, they actually can hinder our manifestation. He didn't have that obstacle. So he lived in a world, which is the right world, which we call in here the 4D, because outside is a 3 dimension. In the 4th dimension, that's where he survived and lived. And that's why he was able to manifest all those things that normal people couldn't. He was able to manifest what normal people couldn't do, like obviously in the education center in India, people with disabilities, like vision impaired disabilities, they couldn't go into big education constitutions where you can study science, because they thought, well, they only got the same type of books and things, that they didn't have the, what's it called, the braille thing.
Yeah.
So he fought the system. He fought it because he had the inner vision was so strong and so vivid. So his purpose in life was, if he had normal eyesight, he wouldn't be able to afford that system. So he became the role, to be born into this world. So he was a catalyst that implemented, fought the government, the system, the education system. Now lots of other blind people can take science in these universities where they couldn't before. So that's amazing accomplishment. But he's, like you say, he's a saint for that.
Trailblazer.
Yeah, trailblazer for that.
Yeah.
And so look at what we see is a disadvantage, or the Mapio about to bury him, but he was born for this purpose, that he was going to help countless people. They can have a life. These people who are, lots of people that are born blind, that they can study, go to the big universities. And then obviously then later on he fought the system. Then he even fought the system how to go and travel on planes, and he fought the system how to teach all these people how to use a computer, and no kuch kita just because he was blind.
And when he was born, I mean, I do remember this, and you know, like I said at the beginning, pehla jadon sanu koi nyana hunda ya munna kudi hobe, sanu vishwas hunda, aas hundi bhi aa karuga. That oda his dad just wanted him to be a great cricketer. And but फिर भी, you know, because he was blind, his dad thought, well, you know, ये तो कुछ कर ही नहीं सकता. But look at what God had intended for him. भी रब ने उन्हें तो cricketer नाल किते कुछ बहुत ज़्यादा बड़ा बनाना सीगा. So had he have done that, he would never have known. उन्होंने इससे पता लगना भी मेरे मुंडे ने आ कुछ करना है. And this is the most important thing, करके सानू नहीं पता भी साढ़े न्याने की कर सकते भी, if we kind of allow them, भी जे असी अपने न्याने नू allow करते हैं, even with a disability, करके within our society, you know, असी we mourn, you know, सानू असी रोंदे हैं, कलांदे हैं, बहुत कुछ, जे साढ़ा न्याना पूरा सही नहीं हैगा, and that's the saddest part, because सानू पता नहीं हैगा what our children, what potential they've got, because we've already resigned them to a life of misery. Asi pehla hi decide kar liya bhi ye to kuch kar hi nahi sakta, and he is an example of not just fighting the system, but actually apna school unhe kholya, karke the government weren't prepared to support him. Unhe apna school kholya with his teacher to support these students, करके उन्होंने फिर चांस से यही सीगे भी जहाँ मोमबत्तियाँ बनानियाँ, because that's what they do in India, जहाँ फिर भीख मंगनी, but he actually gave them a chance to actually live a fulfilling life, not only through studying and going on to science and university, but also to work at his company.
Yeah, and have a normal family, get married, you know, look at, get a roof over your head. There was nothing to stop them. Yeah, nothing to stop them. But Shrikant had a younger brother, so his mom gave birth to another boy, but he had all his sensories. He had his eyesight, he had his hearing, but he's still not able to achieve nothing, nowhere near what his brother did.
Yeah, so that was without sight. Yeah. So again, it's like Albert Einstein said the thing where knowledge can get you somewhere, but imagination can take you anywhere in the world. So ਅਸੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਵੀ ਉਹ ਅੰਨਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਵੀ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕੁਛ ਕਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਕਦਾ, but he actually had the advantage ਉਹਦੇ ਕੋਲ ਸੀਗੀ, but obviously he had so many hurdles. So ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਫਿਲਮ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਆ, ਫਿਰ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਕਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦੀਆਂ ਔਖੀਆਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਆ. I mean, for anybody that's studying, it just gives you so much inspiration. Be je ek kar sakda ya in a country like they were so poor as well, but fir bhi karke he had the inner knowing be main kuch banna hai. Holi everything started working out for him.
I think for me personally, after this movie, because I know it's true story and it has recently happened, I think it's reinforced my belief even more. At least I think it's cemented it now that the power lies in our imagination.
Yeah.
This is so powerful. Our imagination, for me, that is Rab, because that's where we really focus on an inner world and imagination with the feelings of emotion, with conviction, with that intense discipline, you can create the life you want. It doesn't, any life you want, your health, your career, your relationship. If you vision here that it is perfect for me, it's already happening now, because that's another thing we're both very passionate about, is the power of our words. And we've done it so many times in our episodes, that we say, "Jidesi loves use karde hain," and what we say it with so much intensity, ohi sade halat ban jande hain.
Ohi thadi sari duniya ban jandi hai.
Exactly, because everything's energy. We're energy, words, thoughts, imagination is all energy. And so what we say more often of, so he would never say something like anything with an element of uncertainty or doubt. So there's a scene in there when his teacher is saying to Guru, don't try to be a guru. He goes, "I'm not trying to be a guru, I am guru." You see, he was so convinced of who he was. His attitude was so full of positivity. There wasn't an inkling of doubt in him. And wow, that's incredible. He knew, there's a scene in there, he worked with his partner called Ravi, and even Ravi could not dream to the level of winning an award, to the level of the Ambanis and them lot, the Reliance company, which at the moment they're talking about, or the wedding, Ambani weddings. They're the most wealthiest people on this planet. But he said, "Main kar sakta haan." And he felt for a moment, Shrikant, that he's been ridiculed by his colleague Ravi. And Ravi, because he could not imagine himself, so it wasn't going to happen to him, because that's not his. But Shrikant fairly imagined karke, he got the award.
But then he got the award.
Yeah, that's the best bit, yeah.
But award, they put him in the special section.
Category, yeah.
Why should I be treated like a special section? I won't accept this award. So he had so much integrity, so much belief in what he was doing. He didn't accept the award, even though in his mind he wanted to be awarded, but he wanted to be awarded the same as everybody else and not differently, which I had so much, when I saw that bit, I had so much respect for him, because that takes a phenomenal amount of courage. Normally awards but his principles, he was so strong. When you recognize me as the same as everybody else, but menu award melna chahida, same as everybody. Menu kate special, menu kate, why are you treating me differently? And that's the thing, because he actually achieved more than everybody else.
And you're given a special, it was a special award, wasn't it?
It was called a special
category award. And then he's saying that to him, special category, then I remember he was saying something like, he goes that, "I'm the one who's probably physically blind, you think, but yet why do you take that special away from me when you say I'm blinded with love? And why do you use those loves?" He goes, "I'm the one who's blinded, but you still use it, and you use it to describe something great, and but yet at the same time you give me a special category. And obviously it's a gift I got, but you don't see it as a gift. And it's incredible, some of the things he's throwing in, this amazing like you say, inspirational nuggets here and there in the movie, which I was really like, wow, he said this at the right time. And we do when we get blinded with love, then he says that sometimes we don't want to see anything, we just want to be mahsoos karna.
It's the feeling.
It's the mahsoos karna. And like when we say, when we're hugging someone or we're kissing somebody, akkhan band naturally ho jandi hai. The body is an automatic reflex thing, because that sometimes you don't, that experience is not meant to be seen, it's meant to be felt.
Experience.
It needs to be experienced, felt. So eyesight is not everything. That's just a survival way of functioning through this human species. But the real power lies in the inner vision, and that's what that was heightened in him. It was heightened in him because he didn't have this distraction of the eyesight. And
the outer world as well, isn't it?
And he had to be born that way in order for him to accomplish those things, to serve humanity, like fought those, the systems in the education system. And he fought a lot of systems that were going against people with the disabilities, but he wouldn't have to have fought those if he was with the sight. It would have taken him off his path.
I think the funniest part was when he wanted to be accepted into the science college, and the teacher said, "Oh, you're going to bring our grades down." And so the teacher was so prejudiced. वो teacher कहती सी वे तेरे करके साड़ी grade साड़ा नुकसान हो जाना, साड़ी grade थल्ले नहीं चल जाने हैं. But the opposite happened. All the जान दे नाल उन्हां दे grade ज़्यादा बढ़ गए. So it just goes to show ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ judge ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ कि ऐदा हो जानी है, we're not giving somebody the chance to prove us wrong. So ਜਦੋਂ ਫਿਰ ਇੱਕਦਮ ਉਹਨੇ grade ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਕਰ ਦਿੱਤੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਸਕੂਲ ਦੇ, and obviously he became famous because of him. ਉਹ ਸਕੂਲ ਉਹ college university famous ਬਣ ਗਏ ਸੀ ਉਹਦੇ ਕਰਕੇ. So all of a sudden ਫਿਰ then the principal changed everything. And ਉਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਉਹਨੇ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਵੀ oh you know ਸਾਡਾ ਸਕੂਲ ਇੰਨਾ ਵਧੀਆ, you know ਇੱਦਾਂ but really ਉਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਸ੍ਰੀਕਾਂਤ ਨੇ he wanted all the thala launa siga, but luckily ਉਹਦੀ teacher ਨਾ ਸੀਗੀ ਤਾਂ ਉਹਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਵੀ don't say anything now, ਵੀ time ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਵੀ just leave it, which is good thing.
Anyway, she said to him ਹੁਣ ਤਾਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾ ਬਣ, don't lecture him now, because ਸ੍ਰੀਕਾਂਤ ਉਹ ਡਰਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀਗਾ, ਜੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਕਹੀ ਉਹਨੇ ਕਹਿ ਦੇਣੀ ਸੀਗੀ, she go ਹੁਣ ਨਾ ਕੁਝ ਕਹੀ ਉਹਨੇ because ਫਿਰ and then she goes, don't be a guru now. But ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਮੈਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਣਦਾ, ਮੈਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਹੈ. So that's how much confidence he had. And but he wasn't being arrogant and he wasn't being self-centered. He just believed in the power he had. And that's ਸਾਡੀ ਕਮਜ਼ੋਰੀਆਂ ਹੈ. We forget how powerful we are. But he somehow was born and started, you know, implementing that power in him and using to create everything. He wasn't doing it for himself for selfish reason. What he was doing it for the benefit of everyone.
And I think the most important thing, I mean, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜੇ ਆ ਫਿਲਮ ਦੇਖਣੀ ਵੀ ਆ ਆਪਣੇ ਨਿਆਣਿਆਂ ਨਾਲ ਵੀ ਦੇਖਿਓ, ਆਪਣੇ grandchildren ਨਾਲ ਵੀ ਦੇਖਿਓ, because you know ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨਿਆਣੇ ਪੜ੍ਹਦੇ ਆ and they find it difficult, ਕਹਿਣਾ ਵੀ oh you know this is so hard, but when they see this film, ਜਦੋਂ ਆ ਫਿਲਮ ਦੇਖੋਗੇ ਨਾ ਫਿਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਚੰਗੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗਣਾ ਵੀ you know, because he's only 30 something, ਵੀ ਜੇ ਇਹ ਇੰਨਾ ਕੁਛ ਕਰ ਸਕਦਾ ਆ, it would definitely inspire children, adults, anybody who's studying or wants to become something. It will make you think, you know what, this has given me the courage and the faith that I can do something. मैं कुछ कर सकती हूँ या मैं कुछ कर सकता हूँ. So for me, this is about giving faith and just making you feel so much stronger and not giving up, knowing what he went through. I mean, so we've got a couple of quotes here. His famous quote is, sight is for the eyes but vision is for the mind. So ਇਹਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਹੈਗਾ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲੋਕ ਅੱਖਾਂ ਤਾਈਂ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਆਹੀ ਦੇਖ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ, ਪਰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਅੰਦਰਲਾ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਧਿਆਨ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਇਮੇਜਿਨੇਸ਼ਨ ਹੁੰਦੀ, ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਮਨ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਮਾਈਂਡ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ, ਉੱਥੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜੋ ਕੁਛ ਮਰਜ਼ੀ ਦੇਖ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ. ਤਾਂ ਉਹਦੀ ਲਾਈਫ ਉੱਥੋਂ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੋਈ ਸੀਗੀ ਕਰਕੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਦੱਸਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਕੁਛ ਬਾਹਰਲੀ ਦੁਨੀਆ 'ਚ. So everything he created was from his mind. And that's fantastic. Another one is disabilities when you have sight but you don't have the vision. ਵੀ ਇਹਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਹੈਗਾ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਦਿਸਦਾ ਹੈ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ,
actually they're the disabled ones.
They're the disabled ones. ਕਰਕੇ ਉਹ ਆਮ ਲਾਈਫ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਦਿਸਦਾ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ, ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਦਿਸਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀਗਾ ਪਰ ਉਹਨੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਕ੍ਰੀਏਟ ਕੀਤਾ without having sight. So that's the difference. And it's just such a good movie, and it just shows you kinna okha time ਉਹਨੇ ਕੱਢਿਆ up to the age of 30ish, but he still carried on. He never ever gave up. ਉਹਨੂੰ ਇਦਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੋਚਿਆ ਚੱਲ ਛੱਡ ਪਰ ਮੇਰੇ ਤੋਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਹੋਣਾ. He still carried on. But the person that helped him the most, and this is what we're going to go back to, was the person that bullied him and told him right from the beginning, you're going to be a beggar. The peak ਮੰਗਣੀ ਹੈ ਸਾਰੀ ਲਾਈਫ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ. ਉਹਨੇ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਹੈਲਪ ਉਹਨੇ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀਗੀ. And I think that's the most important thing.
It is. That's another thing to remember. So from here we can take that today's episode, that imagination is where the power lies. ਜਦੋਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ dream big, ਨਹੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ, you can really dream. I you know when we say a daydream ਕਰਦੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ, you know do something of, you know, ਚੰਗੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਕੁਝ ਕੰਮ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ being lazy day. But the daydreaming, that's where we create the छोटे बच्चे when they're daydreaming, they're creating, they're living in that place of imagination where the power lies. And we think ਅਸੀਂ ਵੱਡੇ ਸਿਆਣੇ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਸੀ ਪੜ੍ਹ ਲਿਆ, we're getting all too logical, and the logical stuff actually prevents us because we're using our sight a lot. So dream big, because when we're dreaming, we're unlimited. We are this universal life force, and universe like there's no beginning, no end. We are this energy of abundance. We are this energy of everything, this ocean of just depth of abundance. So yeah, and like he did, he just kept dreaming, imagining, and without having the sight blocking him from, creating the life he wants.
So I'm just going to quickly chip in here where Steve Harvey, I'm sure you know Steve Harvey, ਉਹ 10 ਸਾਲਾਂ ਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਸਕੂਲੇ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਸੀ. Very quickly, I'll just tell you this. ਤਾਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ he used to stutter, I don't know what you call stutter in Punjabi, ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਤੋਂ ਗੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਨਿਕਲੀ ਮੂੰਹ ਚੋਂ ਤਤ ਇੱਧਰ ਕਰਦੇ, ਤਾਂ ਉਹਨੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਟੀਚਰ ਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਸੀਗਾ ਜਦੋਂ 10 ਸਾਲਾਂ ਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਟੀਵੀ ਤੇ ਜਾਣਾ ਆ, ਮੈਂ ਪ੍ਰੈਜ਼ੈਂਟ ਕਰਿਆ ਕਰਨਾ. ਤਾਂ ਉਹਦੀ ਟੀਚਰ ਨੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਹੱਸਿਆ ਸੀਗਾ, ਹੱਸੀ ਸੀਗੀ, ਕਹਿੰਦੀ ਤੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਬੋਲ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਕਦਾ ਵੀ ਤੂੰ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਦਾ ਟੀਵੀ ਤੇ ਜਾਊਂਗਾ. ਸੋ ਉਹਨੇ ਟੀਚਰ ਨੇ ਉਹਦੀ ਬੇਇੱਜ਼ਤੀ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀ ਸਾਰੇ ਨਿਆਣੇ ਦੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ. ਤਾਂ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਰ ਬਿਕਾਜ਼ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਛੋਟੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਵੀ this is what I want to do. ਹੌਲੀ even though he had a lot of challenges, but he became a TV presenter. So guess what he sends this teacher every year? He sends her a flat screen TV every year. Every because all teacher ne onu believe nahi kita that ਅਸੀਂ ਵੀ as parents we can do that to our children. If our child says oh मैं है ना airplane चलाया करने हैं ਜਾਂ मैं I want to drive rockets, we shouldn't stop them and say yeah ਤੂੰ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਚਲਾਈ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਕਰੀ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਆਦਤ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ ਚੁੱਪ ਕਰਕੇ ਬਹਿ ਜਾ ਆਰਾਮ ਨਾਲ, ਤੈਨੂੰ ਕੀ ਪਤਾ, and that's when you squash someone's dream, you kill it
just work 9 to 5
ਚੁੱਪ ਕਰਕੇ ਛੋਟਾ ਮੋਟਾ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਕੇ. but if we allow that, ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਤਰੱਕੀ ਆਉਣੀ ਹੈ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਿਆਣਿਆਂ through. So that's fantastic.
That's a good
one.
one.
Dekho Netflix te Sirikant.
And I just feel like this movie, and there's another movie I dekhi sigi, I think the beginning of the year, it's about me fail, similar storyline. He went through so
many challenges,
adversities. We both greeb pind to, and everything was working against him, but he never gave up. I mean, he just was convinced that, his disability was his circumstances, that he padhya likhya nahi siga pehla, they thought him believing that kids should be educated. So this disability that comes up, it shows its face in many ways, but the power lies in being persistent and faith and inner vision. Odi had that inner vision that I am going to be this police officer, not any mamuli police officer, but the top police officer. So that vision, that's where the power lies. And to see sort of right now, what vision do you have? Honestly, don't just take it lightly. Think vision, it's not Amy. It is extremely powerful.
And don't forget, we have this theme, be umar na tusi apni dekho, tusi idda dekho bhi main ki kar sakdi haan ja main ki kar sakda, any age, it doesn't matter. Don't think bi aa meri age hogi main hun ki kar sakdi haan ki nahi kar sakdi. You can do something that you will enjoy, ke jina ਤੁਹਾਡੀ life ਦੀ ਕੋਈ ਨਾ ਕੋਈ meaning ਹੋਊਗੀ, ਜਿੱਥੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਖੁਸ਼ੀ ਨਾਲ ਰਹਿ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ. So I think that's the most important thing.
We'll just finish off sort of like saying that because he is so confident and he's so in alignment with his truth, and obviously when you're really passionate about what you're doing and you love with something doing, ਫਿਰ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਰੱਬ ਨਾਲ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ connection ਰਹਿੰਦੀ ਆ. So what Rab works through you, he will attract situations, people in your life that will support you in your journey. So he was in Boston, America, studying, and then this girl in India somewhere, she must have picked upon his story on internet. They had this connection, and she started having feelings for him. And again, when she ended up getting her university as well, America, the which. But this is all happening. This is all true story. That it doesn't matter. You got to have faith that you don't know kitho thoda partnership aajaniya, kitho thoda job aajaniya. That you just got to feel happy in what you're doing. The rest, everything falls into your lap. If you're happy and pursuing what brings you joy, everything else will come to you. You don't have to chase anything. And exactly that's what we padi likhi, a doctor, and any soni kudi, and she fell in love with him, and now they're married with a daughter.
And lastly, I've just remembered this. So ਜਿੱਥੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਬੋਨ ਹੋਏ ਸੀ, ਜਿੱਥੇ ਦੱਬਣਾ ਸੀ ਉਹਨੂੰ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਫਿਰ ਉੱਥੇ उन्होंने नवी मकान बनाई सी starting there उन्होंने पहली एट उत्थे रखी सी
जिथे पहले दबन लगे से
जिथे दबन लगे सी so it kind of comes that completes the story.
It completes the story.
Yeah, so it just shows उन्होंने नहीं सी पता उस वेले भी की होना and where it was all going to end up, so it's fantastic. Totally inspirational.
Zroor dekhiyo. I mean, I watched it twice now. First I watched it with family, then I watched it with the kids. And but Janet, they loved it. Both enjoyed it.
Definitely.
So really got passionate about that, didn't we?
Carry on.
And his name, he used to say Sirikant, Hana. He goes, no, Sirikant, Siri can. He said, I can't. Siri can do it. I like that bit when he said that.
That's
Siri
really good.
Siri can. You know, so that was really good. So now we're going to talk about this study you came across about 80% of people started to eat their roti watching TV. Ajkal we don't sit at the dinner table, dining table, and so do you sit in front of the TV or the dining table?
Well, myself and my husband, we do sit in front of the television. Sanu aadat hai chota jiha table hai, it's quite cute. And we just sit in front of the television. Because by the time we both come from work and whatever we're doing, we're tired. You know, you don't want to talk much either.
But did you used to sit at the dining table?
Only when the children come round.
Okay. But when they were young?
Then we did. But I think because he works, like, you know, they've got businesses and whatever, so everybody comes in at different times. So nyane, we did sit at the table when the kids were smaller, and so the nyane, you know, used to sit at the table. And one thing, I'd never had a TV in my kitchen, where we had a kitchen diner, because I want the children to talk to each other, but hon we have a TV in every room. So yeah, we did when the kids were small, but and we still do have a TV in the dining room. But so just me and him, we will sit in. But I do know that my children do sit in front of the TV. I think sometimes, not always.
I think it's becoming a normal trend.
I think it depends on the meal as well.
Because people actually have more than one TV as well, kitchen TV, and that's what's another thing happening. And if it's not the TV, then it's the phone. There's something, technology is just taking over, like AI is taking over. But I don't know if it's a good thing, because I suppose, like there's somebody I know, have got an open plan kitchen and dining, so they think it works well for them, because now they roti bhi bandi hai, naale naal TV bhi dekhte hain, naale aale dwale sare ikatthe baithe, because pehla hunda si na, we used to have those separate dining rooms, separate kitchen.
People still have those. I've still got that.
I'm just saying it is becoming a trend, having this open plan as well. So pehla hunda si na, then everybody's separate, and everybody's so for some people it works well. But I think I came across this link on Instagram. There's Imasi, she's interviewing her son, I think 8-9 salan da hai, and this is, I'm quite impressed actually. He was saying that he used to sit having his roti in front of the TV, but he noticed the change, because mom puchetu, what's changed in you since you started eating at the dining table with us. He goes, mom, that actually main jyada roti di qadar karda, I can actually tell each sabji or whatever, this vakra taste in the vegetables, swad and the texture. He goes, never noticed that before. He's watching the TV, thoda dhyan TV ch hunda, and now he's sitting on the dining, actually dhyan food, which it's also developed this new way the brain works. So he's becoming, he's focused, he's able to focus on things a lot better. It's made him more intelligent. Obviously, you talk like that on Instagram. And also I think he appreciates that, also the love that his mum puts into the food.
Or dad.
Because he's talking to his mum. And then he was just saying that when he used to sit in front of the TV, he didn't even know what he's eaten, you know, who's made the food, or TV which and pata nahi lagya kado shuru kita food or when it's finished, or the plate. And I suppose that's I think that's a good thing for a young child to share that on Instagram.
Definitely. ਜਦੋਂ ਹੁਣ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਲਗਾਇਆ, so ਉਹ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਇਹੀ ਆ ਕਿ it takes over your mind, ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਆ, if you think about it. ਸਾਡਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਵੀ ਰੋਟੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਾਂ ਜੋ ਕੁਝ ਵੀ ਖਾਂਦੇ ਆ, ਵੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਹਨਾ ਕਰਕੇ ਸਾਡਾ we're listening to the television ਵੀ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਕੁਝ ਮਿਸ ਨਾ ਹੋ ਜਾਵੇ it's like football isn't it I mean I used to do it on purpose ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ TV ਦੇ ਮੋਰੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ everybody's going like this and saying move out the way
you don't even want to
exactly because everybody's so ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਪੂਰਾ ਧਿਆਨ ਟੀਵੀ 'ਚ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਆ ਬੇਸ਼ੱਕ ਦੀ ਜੋ ਕੁਝ ਮਰਜ਼ੀ ਹੋਵੇ ਆਲੇ ਦੁਆਲੇ you know the children might be jumping on each other and everything so that's how strong the television or your phone ਜਿਹੜੀ ਵੀ or your tablet but the thing I think now is it's becoming more and more normal ਜਦੋਂ ਫਿਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਬਾਹਰ ਵੀ ਕਿਤੇ ਜਾਈਦਾ ਆ people have the tablets out or for the children and even as adults you know I've been a couple of times on holiday ਵੀ ਜਿੱਥੇ there's a screen on the dining table ਜਿੱਥੇ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਖਾਣੇ so I think it's quite dangerous really you know and I think it's great having an open plan kitchen for those people who can have that but at the same time I think you know when you think about people's lives now ਹੁਣ ਅੱਗੇ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਵੀ ਇੱਕੇ ਜਾਣਾ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ there's only one person working the wife would be at home ਉਹਨੇ ਦਾਲ ਸਬਜ਼ੀ ਬਣਾਉਣੀ ਨਿਆਣੇ ਸਕੂਲੋਂ ਆਉਣੇ and there was a possibility ਵੀ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਖਾਣਾ ਰੋਟੀ ਨਾਲੇ ਉਨੀ ਦਿਨੀ there was no frozen food there was no Uber there was no pizza KFC McDonald's ਉਹ ਕੁਛ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀਗਾ so ਜਿਹੜੀ ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਚੀਜ਼ ਮਿਲਦੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਸੀ you used to eat it ਤਾਂ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਕਦੇ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀਗਾ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਵੀ ਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਮੈਂ ਖਾਣਾ ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਉਹ ਖਾਣਾ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਹੋਰ ਕੁਛ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ but there was no choice ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਮੈਂ ਖਾਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਭੁੱਖਾ ਰਹਿ ਫੇ you know so nobody those problems were never there ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਛੋਟੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਪਰ ਹੁਣ ਸਾਰੇ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਹੁਣ if adults work ਸਾਰੇ ਡਿਫਰੈਂਟ ਟਾਈਮਾਂ ਤੇ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਆ ਖਾਣਾ ਵੀ ਡਿਫਰੈਂਟ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਆ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ ਮੀਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਖਾਣਾ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ vegetarian ਜਾਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ ਡਾਈਟ ਤੇ ਆ so there's so many different variables now ਅੱਗੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਪਰਵਾਹ ਦੋ ਰੋਟੀਆਂ ਦਾਲ ਜਾਂ ਸਬਜ਼ੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ that was it but now everybody's got their own idea of what they want to eat
this happens in our
exactly ਤਾਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ ਬਾਹਰੋਂ ਲੈ ਆਣਾ ਖਾਣ ਨੂੰ and ਕਹਿਣਾ ਵੀ if somebody brings McDonald's ਕਹਿਣਾ ਮੇਰੇ ਲਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਇਆ
I know exactly.
You might say that.
Things like McDonald's or Sajani there, dining table they khana.
Exactly.
You want to be put your feet up front of the TV.
Holly chips.
It's just the style of it, and obviously those you don't need your plate or your knives and forks.
Exactly.
So, but I think when we were young, obviously we used to have the job. Everybody had responsibility. Who's going to lay the table? Who's going to tidy up? In a way, but it's about clearing the table as well, and that we should take turns. But even that did teach you some form of how to respect and responsibility. And I thought that doesn't happen as much. But I do feel like the conversation is different. We are actually sitting. Let's say you're sitting at the dining table. Your interaction is different, and the type of conversation is very different from even when you're sitting in front of the TV. Isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
And there's no eye contact.
Yeah. Because if you're sitting, like I'm sitting there and I'm looking at the TV, depend ਕਰਦਾ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਮੂਡ ਕਿਦਾਂ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਨਾ ਗੱਲ ਕਰੋ ਮੈਂ ਟੀਵੀ ਦੇਖਦੀ ਹਾਂ so I don't really want to talk to you ਹੈਨਾ and that's my switch off time because I'm tired from working and rushing around so I don't really want to talk so sometimes that's the switch off but at the same time ਜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਟੇਬਲ ਤੇ ਬੈਠ ਕੇ ਖਾਣਾ ਖਾਂਦੇ then we're going to sit opposite each other we're not going to sit next to each other so we will talk
and you can when we're having that conversation at the dining table it's like we can go into deeper conversation we can actually go into some sort of discussing something of substance and not just mamuli gal did how was day fine tixi and then but then at the dining table you can actually talk about ki hoya and what can we do
how
about
was your day?
you can have a better conversation at dining table and the kids don't communicate as properly they're losing their skill for that and eye contact
and I think ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਕੰਟਰੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸੀਗਾ ਜਾਂ where ਬਾਹਰ ਗਏ ਸੀਗੇ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਲੋਕ ਤਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੇ ਫੋਨ ਗੱਬੇ ਰੱਖਣਾ ਪਿਆ and the only time they could answer the phone if it was an emergency so that forced everybody to sit to sit together and talk so that was really nice and I do think like when my children come around the house we do sit around the table and we do talk, unless the football's on and then somebody will have their phone on and they'll be watching the football because they don't want to miss a goal obviously we won't talk about England playing but anyway so that's probably the only time but otherwise I do think it's important but I think sometimes parents are so tired, you know, and children are tired. So sometimes it's just easier. Everybody is looking at their own thing. So I think sometimes it's easier to do that, but at the same time, I think it's important. Bi jaruri hai bhi tusi ikatthe baith ke ek time, just one time a day, I think.
I think it's
tusi
important.
ikatthe baith ke roti khao, gallan baataan karo, even if it's just to say masran dal again.
Yeah, I know.
Or something.
Yeah.
It's important. Because ਜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਬਾਤਾਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਨਿਆਣਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ, ਫਿਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਿੱਖਣਾ ਕਿੱਥੋਂ ਆ? How to sit at the table. ਕਈਆਂ ਨੂੰ, some people don't even know how to use a knife and fork.
I know, that's really bad.
You know, they don't know how to use a knife and fork because they've never done it in the house. You know, ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਬਾਹਰੋਂ ਖਾਣ ਜਾਂਦੇ, it's going to be in a paper bag, and you just eat everything, put it all back in, put it in the bin.
I think when we sit at the dining table, there was more mannerism.
Yeah.
So we used to ask, can we be excused? Or then obviously, you know, we used to value and appreciate what we eat and do to each other, that sort of thing. And that used to happen. Hunta throw things away or fridge. You don't respect what you eat.
I think children only respect food that's been brought into the house when they pay for it. You know, ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਰੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ, ਸਾਡੇ ਨਿਆਣੇ ਉਹਨੇ ਕਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਜਿੰਜਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਪ ਪੈਸੇ ਦੇਣੇ ਪੈਂਦੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਖਾਣੇ ਦੇ, because they don't value it. Because it ਖਾਣਾ ਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ, ਖਾ ਲਈਦਾ ਹੈ, that's it. You know, it's just something that we're guilty of it as well. ਕਰਕੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਪੇਰੈਂਟਸ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕਿਹੜੀ ਕਦਰ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਸੀਗੀ ਵੀ ਕੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਖਾਂਦੇ, ਕਿੰਨੇ ਪੈਸੇ ਲੱਗੇ ਜਾਂ whatever. So it's all about those things. But I think mom, dad, you know, if the family unit is like that, ਜਿੱਥੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, ਮੰਮੀ ਹੈਗੀ, ਡੈਡੀ ਹੈਗੇ, ਨਿਆਣੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, ਇਕੱਠੇ ਬੈਠ ਕੇ ਖਾਣਾ, ਉਹਦੇ ਵਰਗੀ ਕੋਈ ਰੀਸ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੀ. ਨਾਲੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ you enjoy your food more, and also ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੁਛ ਨਾ ਕੁਛ ਸਿੱਖ ਸਕਦੇ ਇੱਕ ਦੂਜੇ ਤੋਂ.
And sometimes when we're watching the TV, we don't really realize there might be something going on with someone, member of the family, but we're not giving them attention, because if we're sitting dining table, you can get that sense, that person's expression on their face, or they're not looking down, or you can see you can tell something, and we ignore these signs when we're sitting in front of the TV. And that's why there's a lot of we can really tell from the 80% now that they mostly sit in front of the TV. But also think about how many people suffer more from mental health issues, how many people suffer from more they don't want to work on their relationships, there's easier breakups. There's a connection here.
ਤਾਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ because we're using ਅਸੀਂ screen ਨੂੰ ਇੰਨਾ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ all the time. You know, the only time we probably don't look at our phones or the screen is when we're driving. I mean, most people still take their phone into the toilet. That's a fact. You know, and you would never think that's so you know, swear to ਉੱਠ ਕੇ ਰਾਤ ਤੱਕ till we go to bed we are looking at a screen, and I think that's dangerous. And I consciously try and leave my phone in the other room, and you know, if you're using it for work, obviously that's a different thing altogether. But there needs to be time where you appreciate your surroundings. ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਸ ਜਿਹੜਾ screen ਜਾਂ TV ਜਾਂ ਜੋ ਕੁਝ ਵੀ ਹੈਗਾ ਆ, ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਅਸੀਂ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੇ ਸਾਡਾ ਘਰ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਦਾ, ਸਾਡੀ ਫੈਮਿਲੀ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਆ, and definitely you wouldn't notice your children ਵੀ ਨਿਆਣਾ ਘਰ ਹੈਗਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ ਜਾਂ ਆਇਆ ਜਾਂ ਗਿਆ. ਜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਨੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਫੈਮਿਲੀ ਦੀ ਲੁੱਕ ਆਫਟਰ ਕਰਦੇ ਜਾਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਫਰੈਂਡਾਂ ਦੀ ਜਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮਿਲਦੇ ਵਰਤਦੇ ਆ, then ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਕਿਹਨੇ ਕਦਰ ਕਰਨੀ ਆ? Who's going to look after you?
Exactly. Another thing very, very important, we talk about obviously we talk about our diet, the food we eat, and how it's important to have a balanced diet, but also the mental diet. So when we're watching something, as the food prepared, we got to make sure we're in a place of love, and because it goes absorbed into the food. So when we're eating something, whatever we're watching, because most of the stuff we're watching it's going to have some sort of drama in it, some sort of crisis, or some sort of element where there's going to be some sort of anxiety, you know. So or when we're eating that as well, you know, whatever the scenes we're seeing, something horrific, something sad, something scary, you know, stressful scene when the mother or somebody's crying, so all that we digest. So that's another thing that affects us and our mental health state and our physiology. So that's why people having more and more of these stress related issues, and people are aging quicker, and there's lots of things happening like that.
Yeah. Now, and you've just reminded me that ਵੀ ਜਦੋਂ ਕਰਕੇ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ especially Hindi films or Punjabi films, they're like 3 hours. So ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਖਾਣ ਖੂਣ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਲਈਦਾ, ਬਹਿ ਜਾਂਦੇ, ਕਹਿਣਾ ਵੀ ਬਸ ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਉੱਠਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ 3 ਘੰਟੇ ਲਈ. But that's very, very dangerous.
It is.
So every half an hour, ਘੰਟੇ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਉੱਠ ਕੇ ਤੁਰਨਾ ਫਿਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਹੈ.
This 10 minutes ਦਾ ਚੱਲਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ.
ਡੈਫੀਨਿਟਲੀ ਕਰਕੇ ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਵੀ ਉੱਥੋਂ ਹੀ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਬਿਮਾਰੀਆਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਆ. ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਰਿਸਕ ਹਾਰਟ ਅਟੈਕ, you know, diabetes, ਕਿੰਨੇ ਬਿਮਾਰੀਆਂ, ਕੈਂਸਰ ਉੱਥੋਂ ਹੀ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਕਰਕੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੂਵ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਦੇ, ਕਰਕੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਬੋਡੀ ਆ ਇਹ ਹਿੱਲਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਆ. ਸੋ ਐਵਰੀ ਟਾਈਮ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬੈਠੇ ਵੀ ਆ, ਫਾਈਨ, ਵਾਚ what you're going to watch, but consciously ਟਾਈਮਰ ਲਾ ਲਓ ਆਪਣੇ ਫੋਨ ਤੇ ਜਾਂ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਵੀ ਹੈਗਾ ਵੀ ਅੱਧੇ ਘੰਟੇ ਬਾਅਦ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਆ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉੱਠ ਕੇ ਤੁਰੋ ਫਿਰੋ, ਚਾਹ ਬਣਾਵੋ and move around so your body feels like it's being used for the right reasons.
So as soon as we eat something, we release, like you said, the glucose in our blood. If we don't move, this can be stored as fat, right? But so if we move, they have to say within the 15 minutes the which khakena. So even if you can't walk up, to see, you know, just sit down and move your calves of your legs up, पैर नीचे करने, gitte, you know, the gitte, you lift your feet up and down. Do it for about 5-10 minutes. All of a sudden that glucose just come from your food, you suddenly you got rid of that glucose, it's eliminated. A simple thing like that.
So ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ try ਕਰਿਓ to do this, and I hope you really enjoyed today's show. I mean, we definitely have. So थोड़ी बड़ी exercise करा करो, TV भी जरूरी है, सारियां चीज़ां जरूरी है, खलाक भी जरूरी है, exercise भी जरूरी है, अपना मन दी शांति पाठ करना, meditation, आले दुआले, you know, बैठ के गलबात करनी, TV off भी करना जरूरी है. You know, don't have it, I mean, I know some families have it on in the background all the time, and I just think it should be switched off. I like to choose my programs rather than having them rolling all. So that's
so anyway, remember, dream big. Right, dream big, and massively, and have faith in your imagination. That's where your power lies.
So I hope you really enjoyed the program.
Thank you.
Thank you.